Hey everybody, welcome back to Sergeant's Talk TV. I'm Big Mike.
Normal size Jason.
There you go. Hey, man, you guys have been busy.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Been
Whoa, whoa. What's going on?
What happened?
Is that me or you?
I don't see nothing going on.
It's there. That red.
What the heck is going on?
Close to that.
Everything's looking good on my end.
Okay, I got it. Ooh, man. I don't know.
A dang tech department over there.
I'm going to tell you something. Sometimes if it ain't screwed on tight enough, I had this one over here all done, and I didn't do this one. So, hey, welcome back to the channel, everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Things are going normal.
That's what we like. The consistency is key.
Yeah, I've been watching all your videos on that outdoor kitchen. Dude, you guys are doing a bang-up job.
Thank you. Yeah, it's
and Mama can wheel a nail gun.
I try to tell everybody that I can and every chance I got. My wife is a better builder than I am. By far. Pretty much everything that is built around here is based off her design. And then she has the abilities. I mean, she did it like we both grew up, I mean, not knowing one another, right? But both of our fathers were contractors.
Right.
So, I mean, we grew up in building trades and, doing that kind of stuff. I mean, obviously for a career, she chose nursing. But yeah, she is amazing builder.
Yeah.
I mean, I do a lot more of the heavy lifting and that kind of stuff. But I mean, when it comes down to the plans of, hey, how we're going to do something, do this. And we've needed an outdoor kitchen for a while. We've been doing temporary ones where you just put up a shelter and have a Coleman cook stove. And the ridge, I wish I could figure out a way to really get the angle on camera where people understand that it's not flat here. Nothing is flat. The biggest comparison is like the tiny house. The front of the tiny house is maybe 10 inches off the ground, if that. But you go 32 feet to the end of where the deck ends on the end of the house, and it's 6 foot off the ground.
Yeah.
So just so that the kitchen with the deck and all that added on it is actually, it's a multi-function space.
Yeah.
And I get a bar out of it, right? A 2-sided bar that, and whenever people come over, we can hang out, and I get to put my little touches on that part. I'm not allowed to touch the rest of it, and I don't want to. Don't ask me to decorate nothing.
Yeah.
That was as fancy as I got right there. Was I put a screw in the wall and hung it up. Like, there you go.
You're well trained. You're a well-trained husband.
I try to be. I know where my groceries are made. So
that's right. Yeah. So anyway, hey, tonight we're going to talk about 5 things you should never tell your recruiter when you're trying to get into the military. Guys, let me tell you something. There are some dumb people out there. Okay? We're going to talk about that tonight. But before we do that, let's say hello to everybody in the chat.
All right, I'm going to scroll back up. I see old Miss Linda Peterson.
There she is. And then there's Devil Dog.
Hoorah. Byron Brenda Hulk, are you keeping warm? I don't think being warm is a problem right now.
Yeah. Yeah, our outdoor heat pump, we have 2 of them. One for the upstairs and one for the downstairs. And the downstairs one, every time it wants to kick on, it trips the breaker. So you know what that costs. It's going to cost some money for the guys that come out here and fix it. So
yeah.
Whew. Man.
And that's never fun. I mean, this time of year, not having the ability to cool.
Yeah.
Like, it's...
There's Debbie Droth. Welcome in.
See, there's Robin over at Good Enough Homestead.
There she is. Welcome in, Robin.
Oh, she got a notification. Oh, YouTube's did its job finally.
All right. There's Neil S. saying hello.
There's Brother Ricky. Hopefully, I've been thinking about you, Ricky, with all this heat and stuff. Hopefully you're doing all right, brother.
And there's Tim Mason. We're going to see him this next weekend.
Yep.
In Tennessee.
All the way in Tennessee. And there's Ralph, Webb's Web. Ralph, I want to mention, and I'm going to throw this out there because for anybody that doesn't know, right, if you go to Webb's Web, go to his page, he's got a link. And it shows like all the live times, and it's got event meetups and all that. He's got a whole schedule, file, all that kind of stuff. And I used it today, Ralph. That thing is useful.
That's on Facebook, right?
No, you go to his YouTube, and he's got a link for a web page.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And then he's got a file where you can go up to the top, and it says like YouTube Live. So, you know, you can kind of see everybody's schedule if you didn't already know what it was. But then he's got all the like meetup events and different things. There's a file for that one too.
Yep. There's Pappy Smurf. Dave, how you doing?
Welcome in, Dave. Good to see you. There's our sister Denise.
Hello, Denise. And scroll on down. What does it say? Do you have a wide lens for the camera, Jason? Oh, building. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we don't. I mean, we use the GoPro and we put it in linear mode. I know this is all technical. Most people won't understand. Because if you go with a wide lens, it gives to us, it makes it more of the fishbowl look. And it's not very appealing to our eyes, so we won't put videos out with it.
Hello, Susanna.
Hello,
how are you? Proud single mom. Glad to see you in here. And that's what we got. We got 17 people in here. I'm glad you're here. Again, we're going to be talking about 5 things you never... There's probably more, but these come up more often than if we would have done 10. But these 5 come up more often than any other issues people have when they try to join the military. And guys, you can talk to recruiter after recruiter, and it is like, you know, it's on replay. They just keep coming in, doing the same thing all the time. But if you're a recruiter, they're not telling you to lie to them, but you need to know when to shut up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got to know when to shut up. For example, the first one, never tell the recruiter or anyone at the MEX, okay, that something is medically wrong with you. Okay. And we say that, okay, if you don't have a doctor's diagnosis or you're being treated for something that could be found out later on in your medical records, then don't say nothing. Don't sit there and say, well, you know, and I was, you know, I don't know, but I was playing football, and now when I walk, I get this pain in my hip, or I get this thing. You know, they're going to say, did you go to the doctor? No. Well, that's going to put you on hold so they can check it out.
Yeah.
Okay. Another thing, well, you know, I got this, you know, my shoulder, it pops. Did you have it medically checked out? Well, if you didn't, don't say nothing, because they're going to put you on a medical hold until everything, and they're not going to shut you up. They're just going to let you just talk and talk and talk and talk.
Yeah.
Okay. So don't go into a recruiter's office and think, hey, this guy is my friend. He came to my high school. Man, he took me out to lunch. He's supposed to. They get money for that. Okay?
Yeah.
They're not your friend. They have a job, and it's to get people in the military, qualified people in the military, so they can meet their quotas. So if you sit in there and just, well, my mama's had cancer, and my dad had cancer, but if you've never been diagnosed, and they say I'm susceptible to getting cancer and all that, don't say nothing. If no one's diagnosed you with anything, oh, my mom said, my thyroid, that's why I'm a little bit heavier and stuff like that. Trust me, they're going to check you out. And that could either delay you, or they're going to say, man, go try the Marine Corps or go try the Army or whatever.
Yeah, they'll send you off and they'll drag it down. And I mean, 9 times out of 10, right? You're going to see a recruiter, and your intention is to leave as soon as possible.
Right.
You're like, hey, I want to do this and I want to do it now. And when I don't know how many times, I mean, I've got a son that's included in that, was the recruiter held him for shipping for quota reasons, and he pulled out. Like, he said, nope, I'm not going to go. And their quota isn't technically met until you graduate boot camp.
That's right.
So, if you're trying to fast track yourself and get in, hey, I want to get in now. And like we said, we're not telling you to lie to the recruiter. Just don't give them any more information than they need to know.
Yeah.
They're going to ask you questions. Give them the most shortest, direct answer you can give. Boom. Don't drag it out. Like, don't add anything to the story. This isn't the time where you can squirrel moment onto 5 different things. Like, a 3-word answer and you're done. Like, yeah. That's where you need to be with it.
Yeah. Think of it this way. You get in trouble.
Scott Spencer came in. I want to say hello.
Hey, Scott. Look at it this way. The cops pick you up. They're going to question you. And they're going to keep questioning you until they hear what they want to hear. Okay? Just stick to the plan. Don't give them more than they really need, because you're looking at stuff that may take a waiver on medical or whatever. So don't say it. Do not say anything other than, yes, I was diagnosed with whatever, and I had shoulder surgery. Okay? And you can even show them the scars, because you're going to have the 4-point scars on your shoulder where they drill in there and they do everything with the camera. Okay, because they can find that out easy. All right. I had my appendix taken out. There's a scar. You can't hide it. I gave my second kidney to my sister. They're going to find it out. Okay. And those are things that are medically wrong with you that you can't hide, and we're not saying lie to them and stuff like that, but don't just be sitting in there jibber jabbing and just tell them everything. I got a headache and this year and it lasted 3 days. And I mean, they hear all kinds of crazy stuff. So don't give them more than what they're asking when it comes to your medical side, because if you wanted to get out of there, you just stop that. Trust me. All right.
Yeah. So the next one, and I kind of alluded to it, was don't ever tell them you want to leave as soon as possible. Don't tell your recruiter. Definitely don't say it at MEPS. Because when you're going in, like if you're doing any kind of delayed entry program or anything like that, even if you are trying to leave right away, don't tell them that, because they're going to force you into an MOS that you're not going to want. You're going to get a job that they need to fill the quota, not you get the choice. The whole idea when you go in, I did it when I went in. I mean, I was delayed entry program for like 11 months, 10 or 11 months before I left for boot camp. Because I said I graduate on this date and I want 2 months. So when's the next ship date that the job category that I picked? You can't pick the individual job, but you can pick a category.
In the Marine Corps?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for us, like, so I couldn't pick my individual job, but I could pick a category. So like the one that I picked was combat vehicle repair technician. So there was 3 and they were all 3 mechanic jobs, and that's why I did it that way. Was I wanted to guarantee I was going to be a mechanic. And so by picking that field, now once we got to, I think they were announced at MCT. No, actually I think it was boot camp. Maybe towards the graduation of boot camp or something. You get announced what your actual MOS is going to be. And then I got assigned as a tank mechanic. So you know, I didn't enlist. It's not on my combat contract that, hey, I'm an M1A1 tank mechanic. It was a combat vehicle repair category.
Right.
But if I would have went in and been like, hey, just ship me as soon as you can, it doesn't matter what he says verbally, right? You got to look at your contract and know, because there's codes on that contract that say what you're going in. And, yeah, they'll change it up on you if you don't pay attention, and you'll go, next thing you know, you're a cook.
Yeah. Hey, and I'm going to tell you something. They do. I know in the Army, they have a list. They said, hey, these are the critical jobs we need to fill. And some of them are shit jobs, and some of them are highly skilled jobs that they need to fill. Okay. So if you go in there and you say, I don't care what the job is, I just want to get out of here. I want to get away from this place. Okay, sure. You go, I need a mortar guy over here. I need an 11 Charlie. So yeah, how's this? Oh, what are you going to do? Oh, we're going to show you this thing. You're going to ride around in this vehicle and you're going to blow stuff up. Oh, that sounds good. Let's do it. Okay. They'll talk you into anything that if they see, hey, this guy's going to take anything. So I can fill one of these quotas that we need to fill and stuff like that. They don't tell you the downside. You're not always riding in a track vehicle.
Right.
You're putting it on your back because you're an infantryman first. Okay. And stuff like that. So just remember that. And then also remember on top of that, study for the ASVAB just like you're studying for your SATs, okay? Just like that. You can go to a public library. They have the books on the ASVAB to study. You can go online and you can study online on the ASVAB. It's there. They even have pre-tests, okay? You can take as many pre-tests as you want and get that GT score, that ST score high. So when you go in there and you test, you'll test high, and the world is your oyster. I know for the Army, then you'll do really well. Okay.
Yeah, the Marine Corps is the same way in that aspect. If you score high enough on your ASVAB, because that there's certain MOSs, there's certain jobs in any branch, right, that you have to score high enough on these tests. In certain jobs, they'll look at, because it's broke down, and then maybe that'll be another episode someday of breaking down the ASVAB. But you know, there's different categories, but ultimately the ASVAB, the level of the ASVAB for the overall passing is only at a 10th grade level.
Yeah.
You know,
when I went in, it was at 8th grade level.
Yeah. It was crazy how simple it was. But to me, like, I went in and I'm like, hey, this is the ASVAB. These are really easy questions. I scored fairly decent on it. I only got a low. Well, I didn't get a low score. I had a high enough score I could have got any MOS I wanted, but it was lower than it should have been because computers were new and some of the math stuff threw me off. Like I was like, I figured this answer out. It's not an option, but and I still was high enough to get my guaranteed what MOS it was.
Yeah.
But now I've seen and witnessed people that have failed it, and I'm still blown away at how you could fail it.
Right.
But I've seen active duty Marines that I'm like, you're definitely an ASVAB waiver. Like, I know it's not a thing anymore, but you're definitely an ASVAB waiver. Like, somebody's tying your boots for you.
Yeah.
But to watch somebody like do a not like, I know somebody personally that they tried to join, they went in, they got a 9 the first time, and I think an 11 the second.
Holy smokes!
And I'm like, you get like 15 for spelling your name right.
Yeah, and you got to have at least a 31, isn't it?
Something like that. Yeah. I mean, it's so. It was just we did those study books, right? As that for dummies and go in for tutoring. And it just was not helping that person at all. And I'm like, you're just not cut out for this. And it's probably better off that you don't, but because I don't know, to me, it's common sense knowledge, but what I know is common sense isn't what everybody else knows is common sense.
Yeah. And she's right. Denise is right. You can take it more. I think you can take the ASFAB and then you have to wait a week. You can take it a second time. And then if you dork that one up, or you want to get a higher score because you're not getting the job you want, then I think the third one you have to wait. I think it was 3 months to take the third one. And if you bone that one up, you can't take it for like another 6 months or something like that. I can't remember what it was, but yeah, you can bone it up, and you can bone it up real good.
Yeah.
Let's see. I did the delay entry, but was able to go right away. Just needed to wait on my school. Yeah, to graduate school. Yeah. Or for your school to start. Okay. And sometimes that's the case. They may not have a pickup date, and you might get delayed, and don't get discouraged on that. Okay. Because they'll say, hey, we don't pick up another school date until 4 weeks from now. And you want the schools right away, so they're going to give you whatever.
Yeah. The schools drive your schedule for boot camp.
Right.
And of course, I found this out being at the schoolhouse and being the curriculum developer, because I set the school schedules. Right. It was really enlightening to understand that process of it actually kind of goes backwards, so the MOS schools all said, hey, these are the amount of schools we're going to do this year. This is when we're doing them. And then it backtracks to go back to going, okay, we need X amount of people to show up to this school at this time. So we need this many to go to boot camp, be graduated. Like, it all kind of goes back so that you can go forward. Which I still never figured out, like the MOS designation, other than timing of when they enlist.
Right.
Because like I said, for me, it's like, okay, you're on step 3 before you even enlisted, because the schoolhouse is the one setting when you need to go to boot camp with that amount of time. And of course, they're assuming you're not going to have issues in boot camp and get held back for something.
So was Anna Bohr, tell us in the chat, was Pat Marine? Because it sounds like he didn't have doesn't remember getting to pick his MOS. He signed up for, and was he a Marine? Because the Marines have always been that way. The Army, you get to pick it. The only way you don't get that is you boning up your advanced individual training for your MOS, your military occupational skill. If you fell out of that class, then they'll recycle you, and you'll go right to like a cook or something that they have to fill, and stuff like that. And again, when I went, because basically when you go to MP school, you go to your AIT is like a police academy. You're learning domestic disturbance. You're looking at weapons handling. You're looking at the paperwork, traffic accident reporting, on and on and on. You're learning all this stuff in a classroom environment, just like when I went to the police academy on the civilian side.
He was National Guard.
Oh, he was National Guard? Okay. Okay.
Swimmer Nichols. I ship out on the 14th originally, signed for air crew, but after signing, MEPS told me I was too old.
Oh. Now, there is age requirements, but there are waivers for those for certain jobs. Like, I think I watched a video where a 63-year-old man joined the Air Force, but he was a trauma surgeon. And he was on a flight crew as a trauma surgeon for the Air Force. He needed a waiver, and they gave him the waiver because he was highly skilled, he was fit, and they let him come in. But I think there's certain ages. I think the Army is 34 or 35 is your max you can be. And I think the Marine Corps is 28 or 30 or something like that. It's lower than all the other ones.
I want to say it's like 30. I want to say 32, but it might be younger than that. Because I think we had one guy in boot camp that actually he was like 28. I mean, you know, in military standards, he was already an old man. And
yeah, did they call him Grandpa?
There was a couple there, but we had a couple after I was already in the fleet that had come in, and I mean, come in brand new PFCs, and they were already 4 or 5 years older than I was, which really wasn't hard because I joined so early. But yeah, his nickname to this day is still Old Man.
Yeah,
because it's like, why would you go? But so yeah, Nicholas says a recruiter said he checked on a waiver. They said no. He's 40 and not prior enlisted.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think the National Guard, though, they do things a little bit different. Just because it's more reserve, even though they get activated.
Yeah.
Almost didn't pass MP school due to having an undiagnosed cracked rib. Oof. Yeah, cracked rib in the prone, that doesn't... Wait, you shoot 9mm in the prone?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, when I went through, we had Colt 45s.
Wow, yeah.
But that was back in the 70s. And yeah, you have to do it, the kneeling, standing, kneeling, and prone positions on the qualification range. It's not one of those things where, you know, you see on these movies where they teach you how to run, roll, and shoot while you're...
Oh, yeah.
There'll be some dead drill sergeants out there.
It does make sense. I mean, I guess if I think about it, especially if you're going into MPs, right, that's your primary weapon. You're not normally running around with M4s or M16s.
Yeah.
So to do... That would make sense.
Yep, she passed on the last try. That's good. Don't they take off for prior service? Yes, they do. I was an MP, and then I was working drug team, and I got shot in the leg, on K Street down in downtown Frankfurt, Germany, by a Turkish woman. Someone had blown our cover. I had a German creepo. He was my partner, because if you go undercover, you have to have somebody from what I was doing on drug team, and someone gave us up, and we had a little skirmish going on in an apartment complex, and so I was 100% out because they said I'll never run again. Is it compound fracture? It was ugly. And so I was out, and I'm going to tell you something. I will tell you, I missed it so much. Going one day you're in the military, the next day you're out, and you're dealing with civilians and stuff like that. And once I got off the crutches and stuff like that, I was walking. Then I was speed walking after that, and then I was running every single day. First, really, really slow, and so that was in, I want to say, February of 85. I started running, and January of 96, they took me out. They gave me a PT test. I passed the PT test. Then I had to go in for all kinds of x-rays and all this stuff. And they said it was healing perfectly fine, blah, blah, blah. So I came back in under paragraph H of the regulation for recruiting. And they gave me an H under chapter H. They said, well, since you've been out a year, you have to go in, because I got out of staff sergeant. And then when I went in, I was a, what do they call, prior service. So I went in as an E5. And then after I graduated my AIT, and they didn't make me go back through basic. I got stuck in straight into an AIT. So once I finished that, once I graduated that, 6 months later, if I had satisfactory performance, then I automatically got my rank back, and that I got that back relative. So I was out just shy of a year because civilian life did not go well for me. I hated it, and because you figure something. I mean, I was in there from high school to the Army, from graduation day until then. But the problem with prior service is I wanted to go back into the MPs. MPs were overstrength at the time. So they said, you can choose this MOS right here. I said, what other ones you got? They go, that's all we got. We don't need you. I go, oh, man. And so I had to go into the chemical corps. And that's where I finished the rest of my career. But I didn't know, man, I got promoted fast to the chemical corps. That was okay with me.
Right.
So anyway, that's what I did to finish out my career. But yeah, it was, they don't really need you. Like right now, they don't really need you. Everybody and their brother is joining the military right now.
Yeah.
They made their annual recruitment goal in the first 3 months of the year. What they normally would see at the end of the year that they were fighting to get that number, they had in the first 3 months. People were they're filing it in. And so that's good for the military. So anyway, here's the next one. Never self-incriminate yourself, okay? Don't be a dumb criminal, okay? Or whatever, okay? If there's not a court order, a judgment, a written citation, you don't need to admit to nothing.
Right.
Okay? Now, you might be in a state that has recreational marijuana. Okay? Remember, you're going for a federal job. At the federal level, it's still illegal. However, they know, okay? They know what goes on with teenagers and the availability of, drugs and stuff like that, okay? So if you have to say something, remember this, the 70-day rule. don't set yourself up for failure and think, well, I'm going to party on Friday. I'm going to see my recruiter on Monday, and I go to the MEPS. Well, one of the things you have to do with the MEPS is fill up the little bottle. Okay? I know the Air Force, they pull hair follicles. Okay? And the 72-day rule doesn't apply because the little fat cell at the end, they can still get a positive THC off the root of your hair. Okay? But get off the junk, get off the stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. If you really want to make the military a career, don't use. Okay. Clean yourself up, get your act together, and then go in because they're going to find out. And as soon as they find out, they don't want nothing to do with you.
Well,
they will put an RE3 code on you or RE4 code that says you can't come in for another year. It's going to take you another year. So stay clean, and then you can reapply for that. So if you have to go in and say, yeah, I've used marijuana before. Their next question is, how many times have you used it? Oh, just a couple of times. Well, how many is a couple of times? All right. A couple of times. Well, what is a couple of times? Come on, tell me what it is. 300.
Well, in that
number, and stick to the number because
Yeah.
it ain't going to be the only time someone's going to ask you. And when it differs, it's waiver time.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was actually something that I'll say that I did talk to my recruiter about that. Because back in that time, I was an everyday, and I said, hey, look, I know coming in, I got to be done with it. I'll be clean. I guarantee you, it's what to do right now. And we had sat down and talked about it. He said, look, 3, that's your number. Never change. Well, because I think he had looked at, he said, hey, what's your favorite number? Like, pick a number 1 through 10. What was your favorite number? He goes, now stick with that. That's going to go the rest of your life with you. How many times did you try it? All right, hey, 3. Because, like you said, if you're not consistent in your answers, to what you've said to the recruiter, because they're putting notes down, they're putting it in the system, and especially now where everything's digital. It's not that they, maybe they misread how he wrote it in the paper. They're not using pens anymore. It's all bleep blooping. And those comments and all that stuff needs to go in there. And so if you're going in, and you don't want to tell them that you were an everyday user of whatever that recreational, whatever it was, only because it will delay the process and it's going to make you go through more stuff. And I've seen it more times than not. Just the process of trying to get cleared is enough to make somebody back out.
Yeah.
So why make it any harder on yourself? Like, if you're willing to accept, hey, I'm going to get clean, I'm not going to do this. That you can't do it while you're in. And they'll look at it, because if they know that you were an everyday user, you're already a liability, because it's not allowed at all while you're enlisted.
Right. So let's look at it this way. Have you had any traffic tickets? I got pulled over, but I got a warning. Was it a written warning? Was it a citation? Did you go to the municipal court? Did you see Tim at Ridge Life's girlfriend at the municipal court? But if it was a written ticket and you had to go in front of a magistrate, you better tell them, because guess what? They're going to run a background check on you. And anything and everything is going to come up, because they use the national crime computer that's located down in El Paso, Texas. That's the national crime computer. Everybody has to report to them and send all their data, and it updates it in real time. So if you're gonna lie to them, that's worse than having too many tickets. Okay, all right. That's could be worse than, hey, I did it 100. I smoked pot 100 times. Because if they find out about it and you withhold it, then guess what? The waiting game starts again. All right, they're not going to put up with your BS. And a lot of kids don't understand. A lot of kids are coddled. Believe it or not, there are some parents out there that coddle their children. Okay, and their kids think that they're more important than they really are. Okay, the military's there to break your heart. Okay, and you'll find that out within, right after reception station. When that beautiful smiling face meets you and your feet are in the little footprints, guess what? There's nobody there to go crying to because daddy's yelling at you. There's no one to turn to. Where's mom? You know what? So if you're a parent out there, get your kid ready for the real world. Because if you join the military, this is a world beyond the real world. Trust me. And your feelings are going to be crushed. Okay? So just remember that. If you've got grandchildren, if you've got children, nieces and nephews getting ready, their world's ready to get rocked because they're living in their normal world. Once you get on the bus or get off the plane and load up on the bus to go to whatever branch you're going to go to boot camp, your life will never be normal again. Never. Even when you retire, you're still going to have the scars of everything that you went through. Now, you're happy you did it. I'm proud that I did it, but I can think back, and maybe that's PTSD, and I need to put a claim in for it. There's a lot of weird stuff happens, okay, in the military, and I'm just putting that out there because there's a lot of kids go in there, and I seen them as a drill sergeant. Who do you think you're talking to? Hey, excuse me, man. What? Yeah, they get a crash course. So do not self-incriminate yourself in there. If it's in your records, you better say something because they're going to find out on it on a background check. Okay. If you've used recreational drugs, just pick a number and say the number. 2, 3. Oh, I used it once and I hate it. You better stick to one the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got to stick to it. All right. Remember, recruiters are not your buddy. They will seem like they're your buddy because they're building a rapport with you and want to get in good with you. They're sales guys. Okay. They're like car salesmen. Okay. They want to know you, be friendly with you, but they are not your buddy. So don't just open up to them like a therapist. Okay. Don't do it. Answer the question, directly answer it, then shut your mouth. That's it. Say it, shut it up, and move on.
And if there's not any kind of a legal or paper document to prove that you did something, then you don't need to tell them that.
That's right.
Like, it never existed if it's not on paper.
Yeah. Because a lot of guys will go in there and they'll start saying, yeah, and then the recruiter, because he's a salesman, oh, really? Oh, man, that's happened to me, man. Yeah. Did you ever... Then blah, 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 blah. Okay. And they're gathering the information. Okay. Because they don't want to put you in if it's going to go against their number later on.
Yeah.
And then why didn't you catch this?
Yeah. As we're talking about it, it hit me, and I know that we don't have it in the notes, but there's something else that becomes very prevalent in today's age, right? Because we're talking about paper, right? this stuff is non-existent anymore. Paper, pen, what do you do with this? You draw scratchy things on it, right? But we look at the hard documents. Here's the other thing, and especially for you parents or anybody that's out there that's watching this, or if it's yourself, right? You're thinking about joining something. What you put on social media, they're able to look at, right?
And they will.
It is a public domain. And I remember, I think the first time that I ever had to deal with anything because of coming from social media was at the schoolhouse. I came in one day and you know, being the curriculum developer, hey, I'm there to make sure people are getting their tests done and, you know, double checking kind of quality control, right?
Right.
And I come in and there's a big hoopla. Like everybody's talking about all this stuff going on TikTok and on Facebook. And I'm like, and all of a sudden I see this like 5 Marines getting marched up to the head shed. And I'm like, what did I miss? They're students in the schoolhouse, but then they did stuff that was just, you know, considered disgraceful to the Marine Corps, right? Trying to do the TikTok trend. Yeah, they were getting charged. And I think actually a couple of them actually got discharged right there. Hey, see you. You're not going through the school. You're not going out. So, like I said, I know it's not in our notes, but I think it's prevalent to add to tonight's discussion is what you put on social media, right? Because we all have to, hey, we got to selfie it and look at me, you know, I got this big doobie. And, you know, you put that and they look at the timestamp of when you posted it 2 days before you go to MEPS, you know, like, you just.
And I will tell you that as a government employee and someone who hired and fired people, when I would get a list from USA Jobs, okay, when people would apply for a government job that fell underneath me, the first stop I did is I look at their name, I get on my computer, and I go to Facebook, and I try to find this person, okay? And then I'll go over on TikTok and try to find that person. I'll go to their Instagram page, and I'll try to find this person. And then I'll go, nope, don't even want to talk to that person. Don't want to talk to that person. Okay, I got 2 people I need to talk to. Remember, when you become an adult, and that's when you graduate high school, you need to go back. 2 things. Delete your account, okay? Delete your account because you got so much crap on there that you don't know, you know, how far back am I going to go? And did I miss anything? Just delete your account. Then go in there.
Look at the prime example is whenever like Congress is going in to vet anybody that's getting voted into a new position or assigned into a new position, how many of these conversations was like, well, on this tweet, you said blah, 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 you know, like,
yeah,
it's crazy, but that's the day and age. Like, I remember
these are people like going for Supreme Court justice.
Yeah,
in the United States,
but because they retweeted something, now they're testifying in front of Congress because they, you know, and that's a hard topic because it's like, okay, well, where do we fall into the freedom of speech? But when you're looking at and you know, obviously for our case, right, is we're looking at putting in the individuals that we want to defend our country, our values, our nation, and protect us so that we can go to sleep at night knowing that, hey, somebody's got our 6. They're there. But if you go and look, because that's the best source to find them anymore, you know, is to go on their social media, and they're so like anti-government and anti-military, you know, like, then why are you going to accept them into that position?
Right.
You know, because there is a vetting process. I mean, and not everybody can join. You know, there's requirements and there's set standards that need to go.
I tell people just delete your account, permanently delete it. Okay? Because when you get out of boot camp and all this other stuff, guess what? You're going to have a new clientele of friends. Okay?
Yeah.
because everybody that stayed back home, they're either gone to college, they're just doing the same old, same old. Why would I give up a happy gig at the movie theater dishing out popcorn? I get all the popcorn I want, or something like that. They're not moving forward. And you have to look at it this way. You've got to keep moving forward with your life in a positive way. So leave all that childish high school crap. Leave it, give it away. You'll find them later on if you really have to have them, but not at this point in your life. And I will tell you that Big Brother is always watching government employees. Okay? They know who you are. They've got your social. They got your picture. They know everything about you when you get a government job, go into the military, whatever. When I was working, hey, Mike, you're right on the boundary of talking about what we do out here on the plant. So you haven't broke no rules yet. They just came up to me and I go, whoa. He goes, yeah, they're watching you, Mike. Okay. So you got to understand that Big Brother is always watching you. All right.
So yeah, the next thing, and we've kind of touched a little bit on this, but never discuss your family problems. Your recruiter is not your therapist.
Yeah.
And they don't need to know, that, hey, mom's a whack job. She's batshit crazy. But grandma is too. Like, the whole family's got dementia and they're all cracked out, and like, they don't need to know that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Right. You obviously are going into a recruiter to talk to them because you want to join and you want to get out of that cycle, or you want to change your life and make it better, do something like that. Yeah. They don't need to know all those types of things. Because
they don't need to know things like, oh, my dad's in prison for being charged multiple times with domestic assault. They don't. Who cares about that? It's not you, okay? But they could say, boys kind of learn from their dad. We might need to have you sit down with somebody and talk out some things and stuff like that, because they'll do it. They'll send you to a psychologist, all right? And they'll say, okay, psychologist, what you think? Dude, this boy's got some issues, okay? And you're back out on the street again. So don't bring up those family issues, okay? Right. I mean, people bring up all kinds of stuff about their family, well, yeah. One recruiter had told me, he said, yeah, the guy sits down. He goes, how was high school? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm kind of depressed. My girlfriend broke up with me. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah. And it's hard to see her every morning when I wake up in the morning and stuff. Oh, do you live with her? Oh, yeah, she's my stepsister. Dude. And the guy was telling the whole story, and I'm like going, they don't need to know that. You don't need to tell them anything. Okay? There's obviously something wrong with you if you're dating even if she's your stepsister. Okay?
Yeah.
And your parents are allowing you to date each other. That family's got some issues. Okay? There's rules. Okay?
Well, there's moral standards also. Like, you
exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So just answer the questions, and don't look. It's like a dumb criminal. Dumb criminals. I was always told one thing: if you're going to commit a crime and anybody knows about it, even one person other than you, you're going to get caught.
Yep.
Okay. And the same thing here. Don't give unnecessary information. Yeah, my mom's an alcoholic. My dad's a spouse abuser, and this and that. And my sister's pulling tricks down there on Van Buren and Main Street. And they don't need to know all this stuff. But for some reason, kids say the darndest things. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. No,
and that's why they don't let you make adult decisions as a juvenile, or at least they shouldn't, okay? Because your brain ain't fully developed. And if you're a boy, it definitely ain't fully developed at 18. I'll tell you that because I was a boy.
I still am. Hell, I don't think mine's even developed yet.
I still are one.
Bruh, I already did that now a couple times.
All right. Never withhold questionable tattoos and or body piercings. Okay. And there's a reason for that. There is a regulation on hate groups, sexual in nature and nudity, gang-related tattoos, violent in nature like swastikas, Confederate flags. There are several more that you can look up on the internet that are prohibited. Okay, so if you're going to go in the military, and guess what? When you're standing there, medical people are going to go, okay, swastika on the right upper shoulder muscle area. There is a, whatever, this tattoo here. They're gonna list all your tattoos in the medical documentation. They have to.
Yep.
Okay. Now,
and that continues while you're still in.
Yeah.
Every time
you're going to say, hey, tattoos go down and into the fingers and stuff like that, because, in the military, you can't go past the wrist bone right here. All right. Can't go past the wrist bone right here. And the only problem with that is depending on your commander and stuff like that, on whether you're going to wear a long sleeve shirt or a short sleeve shirt. Okay. And nothing above the collar of the neck. And I know some people, I seen Marines with this when they came to Fort Leonard Wood. They had like, what is that thing you scan at the store, that UPC code thing? They have it on the back, and it's got all their body information on it. Okay. And you can click on it. One guy goes, he goes, take your scanner and click on it. So I clicked on it, and I had it hooked up to my computer, and it took me to his Facebook page. I said, are you kidding me? He goes, yeah. He goes, sometimes I can't remember the password. I said, you're ignorant. So there's certain things. So if you want to come into the military and you've got gang-related tattoos, hate tattoos, swastika, whatever, sayings, fully nuded girl on the back of your shirt, or on the back of your back, or whatever, you might have to get it removed or get it covered up with something new. And a lot of people just do a cover up, okay? Because they always know whatever that is that they were so proud of at one time in their life is still on their body. Plus, they don't want to spend the money. It's cheaper to cover it up than to have it removed. Okay?
And less painful.
Yeah, and less painful. So, yeah, and there's several more. Like I said, you can look it on the internet. If you're serious about joining, like I said, you should have them removed, covered up, or something else, and never bring it up that you had one and you had it removed or you had it covered up. Just don't bring it up, okay? Because like I said before, I've said this 100 times in my life. If you're a leopard, okay, and you've got all these little spot tattoos with hate stuff on it and all this kind of stuff, and you paint it black, kind of like if you're in a biker gang and you're getting ready to be 8-balled out and they have you strapped down and they just take an ink gun and they black out the entire tattoo. Okay, everybody knows what that is on the back. Just don't never bring it up. Okay, don't bring it up. It's just it does nobody any good. Remember, you will be going, like I said, going through a medical exam, and I think the piercing. There's certain areas of the body because they're going to look at all your body parts.
Oh yeah,
from way down south to way up north, inside your mouth. Guys, if you want to go in, take that thing out for your junk because you can't have none. Girls the same way. You can't have it. You can't have a mouth stud in your mouth. You got to have that removed. I think now the Army's allowing women. I was shocked. I've seen it because for years you couldn't wear no kind of jewelry when you were in combat fatigues. And I'm walking down the street and I see some captain on base and she's got ear studs in, gold ear studs. I was like, going, whoa. She forgot to. I said, excuse me, ma'am, you still got your earrings in. She goes, oh, they changed that like 2 years ago. Oh, I go, oh, really? Oh. She goes, oh, you must be old school. I said, yeah. I said, you couldn't have that.
The gray didn't give it away.
Now, if you were in dress uniform, you could do that, and they had to be like it had to be a pearl or a gold.
Very
ball.
basic and subtle.
You couldn't wear diamond earrings or studs or anything like that, and so on and so forth. But I guess they can now, and well, maybe they'll change it back and say get rid of all this stuff because Pete Hesse, he's die hard. This guy, I seen him the other day. He was on some battleship, and he was doing PT. Every place he goes, he does PT with the troops.
Yeah.
And those old
I know, like the Marines,
they never did it.
Yeah, no, gosh, they were all on their deathbed. I know for a while, and it actually was kind of aggravating because right at the point that I finally had kind of like, okay, I designed and I knew I was going to get full sleeves. The Commandant of the Marine Corps actually came out. We had got a new Commandant and a Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps. They came in and basically if your palm couldn't cover it, you couldn't have a tattoo any bigger than your palm anywhere.
Right.
And I'm like, wait a minute, we're the Marine Corps. We're known for being drunk and getting tattoos everywhere.
Or the Navy. The Navy's
right.
just as bad.
Right. And so when they came out and said, hey, you can't have it, and their justification was, well, it's unprofessional. Well, your standard says that I'm not allowed to have tattoos that, protrude past my wrist. Like, basically, if I put on my dress blues or my alphas, you'll never see any of my tattoos. It's only until you get to, like, our uniforms that have the short sleeves that you would see any of that. But if I'm going into a professional, I'm checking into a unit, and their equivalent was like, well, when you get out and you were a suit and tie guy. And I'm like, well, that's where you're wrong because I don't even own a suit or tie. So, it would cover it where like nobody would ever know that you had any tattoos unless you took your old top off.
Yeah.
And it definitely made it like a difficult challenge. One of those things that, okay, they're going to change regulations as they go along. And I know with like the females, it was always a back and forth, right? Of the hairstyles, like how they were allowed to have their hair, how they couldn't.
The Army, they're wearing ponytails.
Yeah, like it's, I don't know. I mean, everything's supposed to be, hey, you're uptight, you're professional, everything's tacked away. Hey, you're not worrying about earrings, you're not worrying about, unless you were in a dress uniform, like you said, hey, you could have some very subtle studs and stuff like that. But yeah,
in fact, we had there was a female sergeant major, and she went in front of, I don't know, some congressional board or something like that to talk about females in the military, blah, blah, blah. And she was sitting there. And I mean, she had the brightest red lipstick on. And you know that's a no-go. It's got to be flesh tone, complimentary, blah, blah, blah. Can't sit there and wear purple or whore red lipstick or yada, yada, yada. And you can't paint your eyes up like, you know, the whore of Babylon and be in a military uniform. Everything is supposed to be subtle. Okay. And it was I can't remember who it was, but told her right there in the congressional hearing, "Are you not out of uniform?" And she goes, "No, I'm perfectly fine." And then later it was reported that he talked to her offline, and he is a former Navy SEAL. He's a congressman. And she came back in for the afternoon session, and the lipstick was off her mouth. And it was just, I mean, she looked like a freaking clown. When you're in the military, that stuff stands out.
Right.
Right. And it's just, you know, whatever, a little bit off subject. But hey, we talked about 5 things you should never tell your recruiter. Okay. There's probably dozens more, but these things get brought up more often than you would think. Family problems, the sociology of your family, and people in there already crying to their recruiter that they're in an abusive family relationship. They don't understand me at home. Well, guess what? You're gonna have to understand the military more than the military is going to understand you when you go in. So, guys, hey, that's what we got for you tonight. I hope you guys have a great week. Remember, Empty Homestead goes live tomorrow, Terry and I, at 8 p.m. on Wednesdays. And then on Thursdays
at 6 is Tara and I at White Rock Homestead.
That's
part of our homestead hangout.
Yep. Hey, support both of the channels, guy. If you're not subscribed to Sergeant's Talk TV, why aren't you? Please subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to White Rock. Subscribe to MT Homestead. Support us as we maneuver through this thing called the YouTubes. All right, guys. Hey, we want to thank you guys for coming in. Remember, be kind to one another. Help somebody in need, and always, always think of that. Anything last words there, brother?
Just appreciate you guys every week. You're coming in, you're giving us the comments, you're giving us the ideas, supporting us in what we're doing, sharing it out, getting it out there. Just keep doing it. We appreciate you. And hey, this is the best therapy without having to go to college ever.
Yeah. Hey, and if you have something you want to talk about or you want us to talk about, hey, send us an email. Yeah, but ponytails were a no-go back then too, but I'm seeing them. I seen them wearing them in West Point. I was going, what the heck?
Yeah.
So, hey, Loose Screw Ranch is here. Hey, Kim, how you doing? We got it. We get into it sometimes. We kind of forget the chats, but I apologize for that. Yeah. So, guys, hey, we'll see you on the next video. Bye, guys.
Bye now.